Hello, everyone, and let me greet you first. A happy New Year. So, most of you are already messaging me, asking me, Miss G, what are the interview questions that you have had in the past and how did you answer them? So, I'm guessing you are now preparing for your principal or district interview. And for today on our webinar, we are going to talk about those things and we'll give you some overview or an idea how to answer this question. So stay tuned. First and foremost, let me congratulate you in advance. Well, these are baby steps, perhaps, but I believe in this juncture or in this period, you already have submitted successfully your documents. You have passed the pre-screening interview with our visa sponsor, and then you also have successfully accomplished your teacher qualification interview. And perhaps now that you are asking me, what are the questions that you will, probably have with your principal is because you are already on this stage. So let me congratulate you as soon as now. Okay, but before we begin, if you haven't visited my page, kindly visit Teacher G's or rather Miss G's class to find out more on how to go about your teacher application. Say, for instance, you're asking how much is the budget that you're going to prepare in line with our application here in the US. You could go in there and find some videos that will be helpful with your application. So let's begin. What is the first step that you need to do? Of course, and probably the reason why you're here is that number one, you need to really prepare for the interview. It's not just, you're just going to be there without any bullet or without wearing any armor. So the best thing that you could do is to prepare, read, and review the experiences, reflect on the experiences that you have had in the past. So let's go about the first question that most of the principals or most of the district is going to ask you. First and foremost, tell me something about yourself, right? So when you're going to be asked to tell me something about yourself, says the interviewer. Introduce yourself briefly. Just state your name and then your current teaching position. What are you teaching this year or the past couple of years? And then how long have you been here in the teaching field? And what are your educational qualifications? So those are the things that your employer wanted to know about you when they ask you this question. You can tell probably some of your hobbies, but not too much. Do not elaborate and linger on those information. Rather, focus on your teaching experiences and educational experience. Second, some will also be asking you what are the reasons why do you teach here in the US. So these are some of the possible answers that you could give them. One, talk about your professional goals. You're here in the US to expand your capabilities as a teacher, as globalization kicks into other countries or to across the globe, across the globe rather. You may want to enhance your intercultural competence, especially now that our classroom is becoming more diversified, right? And then aside from your professional goals, talk about as well your personal goals. Why are you here in the US? Not only to enhance your professional skills as a teacher, but rather you also want to improve to become a better person or to become a better citizen and contribute to your society in the Philippines. In line with personal goals, please do not talk about financial gains. Although this has a colossal implication with our economy, no, I was kidding, with our, financial status. Of course, they don't want to hear about this, but rather they want to hear what are the things that you could improve in line with your work as a teacher. And then also, if you're going to be asked about your reason for teaching the US, kindly research first about the school. You can talk about your career objectives, matching the objective of the school who's going to employ you with your career objective. For instance, I believe I answered this question that one of the reasons why I want to teach in the US is because I want to be a part of an institution where the obligation is not solely on the shoulder of the teacher, but rather with an institution who work with different stakeholders, the administrator, the instructional coaches, the whole community, the whole teacher, even the students being responsible because we believe in the motto with one team and one dream. Yeah, so you have to match, or you could match the motto, the mantra, the objectives of your school with the reason why you want to teach in the US. I think that will be a plus factor. And then next, you will also be asked about your classroom management, of course. This is one of the crucial factors in determining whether you're be employed in the US. They're going to talk about what are your classroom management styles and how are you going to address the misbehaviors of the students and how are you going to motivate those students who are underachieving or difficult students. So these are some answers that you may look into. Please note that corporal punishment is not practiced in the US classroom. So answering like you're going to physically restrain the students who's showing this kind of behavior or in an ill manner form whatsoever. These are not practiced in the US classroom. In fact, you're not permitted to touch or to physically force your student and redirect them. So please avoid answering such questions that you're using punishment to your student. Rather, focus on positive reinforcements, such as having a reward system in the classroom. For example, if a student behave correctly, you're going to give them a verbal feedback, a positive verbal feedback, or give them checks, stars, put smiling faces on your behavior chart. What else? Give them badges or certificate towards the end of the grading period or the academic year. What else? Well, you could also answer wherein you will say that I think in my case, I answer that if I'm going to encounter difficult students and I can no longer handle it, for example, worst case scenario, I need to follow the school protocols using the student handbook or the student code of conduct, whatever manual that you have in school, you're going to follow what is written there. And of course, you're going to follow the referral process to help those students. For instance, you're going to seek the help from the administrators, the guidance counselor, the social worker, so as to be able to help these students. All you need to do is to formulate your answers, prepare in advance. Now, you will also be asked, how are you going to engage those underachieving students? Well, there are a lot of answers that you could give here, but one of the things that I answered here is that I'm going to use the ABC of behavior. Just like how I manage my students, I use an ABC, the ABC of behavior. And what is the ABC of behavior? A is for antecedent. B, you have to know what is the reason why is the student acting like that. And letter B, you have to define the behavior that you want to see in the student. And letter C, you need to um, place some consequences if that behavior changed or if that behavior did not change at all. And in line with this, you have to know your students by heart. Okay, you have to form a relationship with them and then know why they're underachievers. Once you know what is their reason for underachieving, say for instance they just really don't know how to answer this, well, of course you're now going to focus on changing that behavior. If the behavior that you have identified is that they are not good at this, for example in multiplication, so what are you going to do? Of course you're going to provide support and intervention. Say for instance I said that if I found out that my student was not that good in multiplication, multiplication, he does not know the multiplication table or does not memorize it. So what could you do? Well, probably you could give them, for example, a flashcard, set a time in the morning during your morning routine to review about those multiplication table one by one from 1 to 12. And then continue doing it every day until this student already memorized his or her multiplication table. And then after that, after you provided the support and intervention that they know already, you can now provide the consequences. What are the consequences? Well, for example, in my case, if the student did his homework in memorizing, did not do his homework in memorizing the multiplication table, I will say that for tomorrow, we're going to have, instead of one worksheet, we're going to work on two worksheets. Okay. Or if the behavior of the children or of the child rather enhanced or has been improved, then I'll be going to commend the effort or the action of the student. And how do I usually commend the effort of the student? Aside from giving verbal what do you call this, positive verbal feedback to the students, I also text and inform their parents. Okay. I usually go to class dojo and say that I'm happy that my student already memorized this and that. I hope he will continue doing or practicing the multiplication table, and the next thing you know, they're happy. So you can state those concrete examples based on your experience. Now, other questions will also involve you, of course, after how you manage the student. You will also be asked, how are you going to involve parents in your classroom, or how are you going to ask your parents to support your classroom instruction? Well, you could share your experiences in the Philippines, how you involve your parents. In my case, what I did is I gave them a concrete example already. I said that during the orientation, I already provided my contact to my parents. So therefore, I am already connected to the guardians and to the parents of my students. And also, when I communicate with them, I told the interviewee that I communicate to them in a positive tone, because parents just do not want to hear about the negative behavior of their children, but they also wanted to hear something positive. So it's always good to start with positive, then the negative will follow. No, kidding aside, of course, after connecting with your parents during the orientation as well, every year we're having on orientation, right? So you could exchange already your goals and expectations with them. What do you expect with yours, with their children? What are your goals for your children? And you could also ask them what are their expectations with you as a teacher. Therefore, you're already establishing already a collaboration between you and the parent as a stakeholder of the children's learning, you know. And then also during the orientation, please make sure that you're going to establish a report already. And how are you going to establish that? Well, always smile, greet them, even if there will be times that they're not going to greet you. So just wear a positive tone, wear a positive attitude, wear your smile always. And if ever that there are going to be conflicts, if there are going to be intimidating moments, just be sure to compose yourself and be professional all the time. And lastly, you have to address, of course, your common challenges. There are a lot of challenges that will go along the way as you communicate with the parents. And say, for instance, an incident happened already or an accident happened. You're not going to let a day pass by without informing the parents right away. So communication is one of the best answer here with the parents, and then followed by a concrete example. And then after the students or classroom management, the parents, you will also be asked, since you're a new teacher here or a foreign teacher in the US, how are you going to work with your new colleagues? This is, I think, the third question that was asked to me. How am I going? Fourth question that was asked to me. How am I supposed to work with my new colleagues in the field, right? So one of my answers here is that I need to build a relationship with them. And then I also cited that during my first year, it's just like um, every institution is like a first year of work for you, right? So I said that during those first year, I cited my experiences that I need to build a relationship with them by how, first and foremost, that I need to show that I am committed to work by showing up to the meetings. So every time that my school is going to call a meeting, I said that I am going to be present, and also I'm going to be respectful and approachable to them. What else? I'm also going to show them that I am focused on getting the work done. For example, they're going to give me a task that I need to accomplish within, a group during the meeting. I'll make sure that I will contribute something to that task. And then also, if you saw somebody in the hallway, bringing some heavy stuff rather, I'm going to offer assistance. And aside from offering assistance, do not hesitate as well to say that you are going to seek assistance whenever it is needed. I think one of the things that they are looking for an employee is not somebody who will work independently, but rather who will work collaboratively with others. And one of the good things that you could do is not to hesitate to ask for assistance, ask question whenever you needed it. And of course, this is my favorite part, smile all the time, okay? Do not bring your heavy luggage, from home, going to school. Therefore, smiling all the time will give them an impression that you are an optimistic person. Well, those are the questions that I have had during my interview. I only have, I believe, four questions, and those were the questions that I just shared to you. Just give them concrete examples. You could, cite some theories or some concepts about it. But the best thing that you could do is cite examples. Other questions that may pop up during your interview is, how do you do instructional planning, or what do you know about lesson planning? Of course, you could just go over how you go your how you do your instructional planning or lesson planning. Say you have your time management for it, you always use your time wisely, and then maybe discuss the part of the lesson plan. It depends upon the question. And then you will also be asked how to face the challenges being away from family. Well, you can say that you are an independent person already, and that you always have the comfort of the innovations of the technology. So before, we only have the snail mail, but right now we already have the comfort of Zoom, Google Meet, Facebook, of course, Instagram, and whatsoever. So you can update each other once in a while. So this, I think, won't be a challenge for us, right? Kind of. And then they will also be asking you about your classroom strategies. Well, you could talk about your formative assessment, your authentic assessment, summative assessment. You could also be asked what are your professional strengths and weaknesses. Well, you could avoid this question by talking about already or about yourself already during the first part. Remember that you were asked say something about yourself. You could already avoid this question by showcasing yourself during that first question. And then use of technology in the class. How are you going to integrate technology? Well, I think I answered here. This is during the teacher qualification interview, I believe. I said that I use the technology to aid my classroom instruction. I said that there should always be a balance between traditional and the use of technology in class. Although technology, could engage students, motivate students, it's also important to use traditional methods, especially lecturing and taking pen and paper exam with the students. So let me just give you the general tips during the interview. Number one is to prepare yourself. That's why you're here, probably listening to me because you want to prepare yourself. And number two, be confident. And you can only be confident if you know to yourself that you came to that interview very well prepared. It's okay to, what do you call this? Make some notes for yourself so that you're not going to have a mental block. Just be sure that it's not going to like confuse you during the interview. So just prepare, be confident, review ahead of time, prepare ahead of time, and also give concrete examples of your experiences in the Philippines. Do not just give them concepts. Just like what I mentioned to you a while back, mention some students without mentioning their names. You can mention the experiences that you have with your students, with your parents. And then last but not the least, ask questions. This is one of the things that employers wanted to hear from us. They want you to ask questions. Why they want you to ask questions? Because they want to assure or guarantee themselves that you are also interested in their program, right? So when I say ask questions, please do ask about, for example, what is the student teacher ratio in the school, or ask about the horizontal and vertical articulation. How are you going to support instructional planning? How are you going to go about, the planning for science, math, and etc. So you could ask about those questions. You could also ask about, what are the professional organizations that you could subscribe with to help you grow professionally, and even about the programs for continuing professional education. And please, what are the questions that you want to avoid? Avoid asking about your salary, how much you're going to receive towards the end of the month. What are your taxes? Do not ask those things. That will be discussed to you separately by our visa sponsor, perhaps, or once you're here already. What else? Do not ask about what are the near shopping malls or shopping centers. Those are beside the point of the interview. So just focus on the questions that will show them that you're interested or you're also invested in the teaching position that you're applying for. So I guess those are the things that I would like to share with you in line with your interview with your principal or the district. And final words, trust the process. Okay. Most of you are asking me, how long have you been waiting, or how long have you waited for your interview? Say, for instance, well, as you can see here, I have started my application around 2018. Yeah, December 23, 2018. But then I just got employed, or I just got accepted in the pre-screening interview around um January 4, but I think this one was declined. Yeah. Because I need to secure a year of experience handling the core subjects. So I just got here 2021. So imagine I've been waiting for like 2 years for this. So trust the process, okay? Sabi nga nila sa Filipino, kung para sa yan, kung hindi ukol, hindi yan bubukol, right? So they will be done. That's that's my mantra. Kung para sa'yo talaga yan, well, it will be given to you. So I think that's everything that I wanted to discuss with you. And please, of course, if this video helped you, please do not forget to subscribe on my page, Miss G's Class. Thank you so much, and stay tuned for more info on how to go about your teacher application here in the US. Thank you, and Happy New Year, everyone.